the imposter syndrome is an actual syndrome which is used to describe people who feel that they are not good enough for something. So typically, I've been working for 25 years, but I still don't feel good enough. It's a sense of just somehow inside not feeling you're good enough for a job or a particular role. And this tends to affect women more than men, I believe. And it just limits us, I think, in our development and in our growth and in our ability to move forward through life. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching as well as teamwork and team training, but I think the one-on-one coaching can be particularly helpful and have breakthrough results because sometimes we're dealing with issues which are quite deeply rooted. So we have to work quite hard to get those issues out, particularly when it comes to issues like confidence. So I remember coaching somebody whose big challenge was that she couldn't hear herself speak in a meeting. She found it difficult because she was physically fairly small and she had quite a quiet voice. And what she found, this was in the media industry, which tends to be quite loud and quite dynamic and everyone speaks loudly, so she just couldn't be heard. So we worked quite closely together for quite a long time and we got her to the point where she was feeling much more confident about expressing herself. We worked on her pitch and her tone and just her inner confidence. And people around her fed back the extraordinary change in her confidence, which then made her more confident. So it was kind of a rolling effect. So that was one particular success story. It's a very tricky subject. It depends on the organization, to be very honest with you. I mean, I've heard CEOs and HR people say, I prefer hiring women because they can multitask better, they tend to be more loyal and they're just more reliable. I've also heard employers overtly and not so overtly tell me, you know what, I have to give them a long time for maternity leave, so I kind of prefer to hire guys. Of course, they don't say it openly, but that bias can also exist. So I think it really depends on the employer, but hopefully people are bigger-minded. So I think it's all about us women, when we achieve certain things, when we get to certain positions, encouraging other women. So what also happens is that it can be so hard to get somewhere in life. When you actually get that role, you actually get that big job, you tend to want to cling on to it and keep it for yourself, and because you've really struggled to get there. And that can manifest itself, for example, wanting to prevent other people getting into your space, or not wanting to bring other people with you from under you and actually give them that space and encourage them. So I think as women, the more we can do to feel safe and secure and make others feel safe and secure in working environments and help encourage them and mentor them and bring them up and give them the tools they need to do the job, the more of that happens, I think the better for everybody. So in terms of action points, I would say, first of all, reach out for help. So I think quite often we don't like to ask for help because we think it's failure. So first of all, there's the inner driver, or I'm not good enough. And secondly, there's that fear of asking for help. But there's a lot of support groups, there's a lot of women in business networks, there's a lot of people who, are sufficiently enabled to want to be able to help them. So I think reach out for help is not a sign of a weakness, it's a sign of a strength to be able to ask for help. I think women who have made it and are making it is think about other people and perhaps where you were in their position at that point and how you felt, and try and sort of bring down that guard a little bit and reach out to women and bring them with you. So it's all about reaching out, opening up, trying to kind of encourage other women to come forward. I think it's got better. I think what's happening, if I look at the last, let's say, 10 years, I think there's a huge rise in entrepreneurialism. There's a huge rise in smaller companies, tech companies, moving away from the great big global companies. And I think those kind of companies, because they're small and they're agile, tend to allow women different kinds of opportunities. I think also with the new maternity leave policy which came in a couple of years ago, which has moved from 3 months maternity to 6 months, although some employers see that as prohibitive, in fact that gives women more space and time to recover after having babies and come back into the workplace. So I think that's helped quite a lot as well.